To another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you top of the ninth inning. Rangers, final ABs, 5-3 deficit at the moment. Look, you had a very off night from MacKenzie Gore. You had too many walks tonight. You put the bullpen in a little bit of a tough spot. Gore just working on that consistency, right? 10 base runners through your first 4 innings. That's not going to do it most nights. Good news for the Rangers. They've got some hitters coming up next here. You've got Jock Peterson in the on-deck circle at the moment. And if you can just get Higgy on right here, if you can just get Higgy on, give me a little Jock Peterson bomb to make it 5-5. Wouldn't even be surprised. Wouldn't even be surprised at all. Got to talk Robbie Ahlstrom. Cade, what's good, brother? Good to see you. Yeah, so happy for Robbie. If you've been following the show, you've been following the channel for a while, you guys know we're big Robbie Ahlstrom fans here. Loved what Robbie Ahlstrom did in spring training and Surprise. He was phenomenal. Obviously, look, you're not going to be perfect at any level. You can't have a 0 ERA, even down at A ball, right? But at the same time, you watched Robbie Ahlstrom face major league hitters in spring training, and you felt encouraged. And he's been a guy that's just been solid down in AAA for a long time. Like, obviously, it's not like a wow factor with Robbie, but it's just consistent. And he just does a great job mixing his pitches. And tonight, retiring 1, 2, 3 there in the 7th, you getting out in the 8th, just big time stuff from him. And I love the family reactions. I know y'all saw those. His family was freaking hyped. I loved it. It was phenomenal watching them react. I mean, look, I don't want to say it takes away the sting of a potential loss here, but makes it a lot better. Mike Hellman, by the way, going to bunt Kyle Higashioka over here. And so Jock Peterson is going to come up with a runner on second base. See if Jock can tie it up, man. You might see something wild if we get a Jock Peterson home run ball right here. Jock, by the way, on the night, 1 for 4 with 2 RBI. Had the RBI triple a couple innings ago. Let's see what he can do. First pitch. A little bit of a hanging off speed pitch there from O'Brien. Can't say Jock's probably looking for that. It would have been tasty if he was, man. That would have been in the seats for sure. That was hanging and high. Pitch number 2, sweeper in the dirt. Jock can't lay off. And he is quickly down 0-2. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Drop a comment, drop a question. Why is he bunting there? Darnell, good question, man. Good to see you, brother. I mean, look, I kind of see both sides, but I definitely probably swing away. I know you want to get him into scoring position, maybe eliminate the double play, but Hellman's quick enough. That probably is more about how they're feeling about Hellman's bat right now, which is not very confident. Probably at least wanting to get something productive out of it. That's why, like we've been talking about on the show, you figure Hellman is probably going to get demoted this weekend when Wyatt Langford and Corey Seager come back. I mean, his days are numbered. I'm kind of in the why bunt there. You're down 2. If you're down 1, obviously you're bunting. But down 2, outs are your hottest commodity, man. I mean, your most precious commodity right now is outs. So with down 2, I'm not sure I get it there either, Darno. By the way, we're in a 1-2 count right now with Jock. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. Again, drop a comment, drop a question. We'll get to as much as we can post-game. During the game itself, might be a little bit spacey. Jock, some good contact here, but looks like the park is going to hold it, man. Jared started getting a little excited there. Just didn't look like he quite had that one. Just didn't get under it quite enough, and he's going to jog back. 2 down. Josh Young, the final hope for the Rangers as they look to sweep the Cardinals. Look, 5-game win streak. I know a couple of you guys have said it already. You're not going to hear a lot of negativity from me tonight. Obviously, we're going to break down the game, and we're going to talk about good stuff, bad stuff. But it's hard to complain about the Rangers as a whole winning 5 in a row. Josh Young, by the way, swinging first pitch here. I had the right idea. Sweeper right down the middle, and Young just can't come through. So Cardinals are going to get this one done. Rangers lose by a score of 5-3, and they are going to head into the off day winners of 5 of their last 6. And you're going back to face the Guardians at home. It's a pretty good place to be. You passed, I think, this test on the road with flying colors. I don't think anybody expected the Rangers to go into St. Louis and win 2 out of 3. I think a lot of us were feeling like, hey, could we win 1 out of 3? I mean, look, I know that they beat up on Kansas City. Kansas City, after the Rangers were done with them, had lost 11 of 12 games. I don't think a lot of us were putting a ton of stock into the Kansas City series. That being said, I definitely think you take the teams, you take the wins that are in front of you all day long. But I think everybody kind of agreed the St. Louis series is really what was going to be the litmus test. And the Rangers passed it. I don't think there's any other way to put it. You passed the test in St. Louis. Now you go back home and you face a Guardians team that is pretty quality. And I think you really have an opportunity to continue to solidify that the Rangers are going to play consistently good baseball. That's been something that's eluded the team. That's why right now they're sitting at 30-32 instead of 31-31. I definitely think that the Rangers have a lot more left that they still have not completely accomplished. I think the ceiling is definitely something that Texas is still continuing to reach. I don't know if this is a 90-95 win team, but I've always said pretty consistently this year, feels like this Rangers team can win 86 or 87 games and maybe sneak in the playoffs. I think you got to obviously add something at the deadline, probably add a few pieces at the deadline, but this team going to get Wyatt Langford, Corey Seager back this weekend. I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is neither one of those players played very well this year. Right. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of excitement about Wyatt Langford and Corey Seager coming back. I got to admit, I'm in that boat. I'm excited to see those guys back in the lineup. And I would imagine that they are going to be back in the lineup. Wyatt Langford, by the way, homered tonight at Frisco. Look, good for him. You'd rather that than see him go 0 for 2, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. But I will say, we know Wyatt can hit minor league pitching. We know that Wyatt can hit spring training pitching. We got to see it in the major leagues. And so I am cautiously optimistic getting Langford and getting Seager back this weekend. I don't know that you can feel overly confident just because the players have not played well. Siegs and Langford were bad before they were hurt. And so you have that in the back of your mind. You hope that the reset, not having games, being away from it a little bit, hopefully is going to get them on a better track. But at this point, I cannot say that I am jumping for joy. Obviously, those are great players, but I don't think I'm going to overhype that one this weekend. I just don't think, based on what they've done in the past, I think your expectations need to stay pretty in check. I don't want to say low, but I'd say keep the expectations in check. You need to see both those players actually start playing well this season before I really get hyped up about the two of them returning and what this offense can look like. Now, we're going to get ahead of ourselves a little bit if we go on too much longer. We're going to have time to preview the weekend series, but let's kind of put a bow on this game and on this Cardinals series. Tonight, you had the offense, once again, just a bit MIA. I think we got to call that one out on the carpet. Jock showed up, but you had a lot of zeros, right? Nicky Lopez goes 0 for. Mike Hellman, sub for him, eventually went 0 for. You had Evan Carter 0 for. Osuna, he only had 2 at-bats, but he did not get a hit either. Duran 0 for. Berger 0 for. I think we were talking last night on the show. Probably would have been a great day to give Jake Berger off. I mean, really would have been a nice day today to give him off, give him a couple of days. But with him playing in his hometown of St. Louis, I just don't think you were going to do that. Skip, Jake, clearly they've got a strong connection. I don't think there was any way Skip was not going to let Jake play all 3 games here. But, at this point, I think Berger, to me, he's shown you what he is. I'm kind of done with Jake in terms of waiting for him to unlock God mode or unlock even all-star mode, whatever you want to call it. I do think at this point, Jake kind of is what he is. We've seen enough of Berg to understand, he can have some very hot streaks, but he can also have some extremely ice cold streaks as well. And that's what we're seeing with him. And unfortunately for Berg, it's been more cold than hot. I just am kind of done waiting for that unlocked version. I hope he goes on a tear. Hope he proves me wrong, just like Jock Peterson is doing to me and to a lot of people. And good for them. I'm never rooting for anybody to fail, but I'm giving you my honest assessment right now. I think Jake is what he is. And I think that maybe the Rangers are good with that. Maybe they look to make an improvement on it eventually. I hope it is the latter instead of the former. I think Berg, unfortunately, is in a spot right now where it's a lot of swing and miss. The defense is okay out there at first base. It's not like you're getting Gold Glove defense. I do think first base is definitely an upgrade position for sure. I do think Berg probably gets the day off today had he not been playing in his hometown of St. Louis. Nimmo 1 for 4, Young 1 for 4, and then Jock Peterson, of course, with the big two out, 2 RBI triple. He continues to hit very, very well. And put out a video on Jock today. Look, not a full-blown groveling apology. I think Jock deserved the criticism that he got all this time. I'm not going to back down off of that. I know I've got multiple people in my mentions just, are we going to get a Jock apology video? No, because the Jock criticism is totally warranted. Last year, totally warranted. The first, 2 weeks of the season, totally warranted for Jock Peterson. So for me, no apology, but I will say this, Jock has still a lot of making up to do. He's definitely having a great run right now, and I'm going to continue to cheer wholeheartedly for the guy. The Rangers are a better team when Jock Peterson is doing this. And all credit to Skip Schumacher. I tweeted that out earlier tonight. Skip made the decision, made the call to hit him leadoff. I definitely had my reservations about him going to the top leadoff spot. All credit in the world to Skip for putting him in that place and really unlocking potential for Jock Peterson there. I mean, Jock's obviously the one in the box, but it doesn't feel like a coincidence. You moved him to lead off, suddenly he takes off. And so, look, hopefully Jock can continue this. That would be, I think, every Rangers fan's hope. Now, let's talk a little bit about Evan Carter. I know that some of you guys have already mentioned him in the comments. I definitely want to address this. Evan Carter, to me, we talked about Leody Taveras. We talked about the comp. Leody was not good defensively in 2025, last year, right? The Rangers DFA'd Leody early summertime, late spring, correct? And then he went on to sign with Seattle, played with them for a little bit, and then got demoted to Tacoma, the AAA Seattle club, the affiliate. I think right now there's a lot of comparisons that you can make between the two players. Right now, Evan Carter is giving you absolutely nothing up at the plate. And last year, and even in 2024, you had the Leody apologists, if you will, touting the defense, touting the speed as reasons why we needed to keep Leody Taveras in the lineup. I never bought into that, and I really don't buy into it with Evan Carter either. I don't care that Evan Carter is a top defender. I don't need him to be in center field just as a defense-only guy giving me an absolute black hole in the lineup every single night. I don't at all understand the people with that perspective of, I'm good with him going 0 for 4 and striking out in big spots like he did tonight because he plays really good defense. I think it's a ridiculous viewpoint. We can agree to disagree. I do not care that Evan Carter gives you elite defense. If he cannot hit worth a lick, you don't need him in the lineup. Think a perfect comp. Just think about this. We made the Leody comp, right? Now let's make another comparison. Think about Brandon Nimmo and Adolis Garcia, right? The argument with Dolly, even last year, from fans that love Dolly, and I'm one of them, but I wasn't making this argument. I love Adolis, but you had many fans arguing, well, Dolly gives you a Gold Glove right field, so you might as well just keep him in the lineup. He's worth it. Right? It's worth a lineup spot because Adolis is giving you Gold Glove defense. In my opinion, you replaced Adolis with a better hitter in Brandon Nimmo, and Brandon Nimmo is giving you pretty dang good defense right now. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's Adolis level defense. It's pretty good defense. And Brandon Nimmo wasn't known as like a scrub defender when he came here. I think he was known as being a capable defender. I don't think anybody was putting him on gold glove level. But I think Brandon Nimmo is a great comparison. You upgraded the offense. And as long as you put a guy out there that's not going to be dog water terrible, you're going to be okay. The defense does not outweigh the black hole on offense. I'll argue this to the death. I will die on this hill with anybody that wants to go back and forth about it. I think Adolis Garcia is a perfect example. You upgraded the bat by getting Brandon Nimmo. Yeah, you probably did take away a little bit defensively. Brandon Nimmo doesn't have the arm that Adolis Garcia has, but Brandon Nimmo's been making tons of great plays in right field, and he made 2 more tonight. And the arm is actually above average. You downgraded slightly defensively, but you got much better offensively. Now, let's think about that with Carter. If you move Wyatt Langford over to center field, I think a lot of us coming into spring training weren't totally opposed to the notion of Wyatt playing center. I personally said I want Evan Carter there. And that was with the understanding that Evan Carter was going to be a capable bat in this lineup. Clearly, that hasn't worked out yet. But I was never like, no way, Wyatt can't hack it in center field. I don't think anybody was saying that. I think all of us believed Wyatt Langford could play center field and play it adequately. I think that many of us had the preference, though, for Carter because I think he is a little bit better out there with his reads. I think he takes better angles, and I think he is a better center fielder in general. I don't think that's necessarily disputable. That being said, I don't think the drop off from Evan Carter to Wyatt Langford is that significant. Again, think about the Garcia to Nimmo drop off. Have we really felt that this year? No, we haven't. We have not felt the drop off from Nimmo to Dolly. And so for me, I'm okay with moving Wyatt to center, maybe getting slightly worse defensively in center field, but allowing other guys to have opportunities offensively. I mean, this guy looks just totally over his skis right now up at the dish. It's sad because we all love Evan. Love Evan Carter. Little savior, hero in 2023. I don't think the Rangers make the playoffs without him. I think without Evan Carter, the Rangers probably melt it down in September and probably miss the playoffs. I don't think that's a hot take at all. So we're always going to have a special soft spot in our heart for EC. But this year, man, he needs to go down to AAA and he needs to get his swing together. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why the fans that get so in their feelings about Evan Carter and AAA getting mentioned in the same sentence, I'm like, do we understand that this man has 3 minor league options? Do we understand that it's not a death sentence to go down to AAA? And look, maybe they keep him up on the major league roster and he comes out of it. That doesn't mean that it's wrong to make the assessment that he should be down at Round Rock, getting some everyday playing time and working on some things with less pressure. I think Evan should be a guy that gets sent down this weekend. I hope that he's able to figure it out with the bat. By no means should the Rangers waste a lineup spot on him because he gives you all-star defense. We've seen how that works with the Brandon Nimmo trade. It's better to have good offense and slightly worse defense than it is to just hold on to a really bad offensive player for the sake of the defending that he does out in the outfield. All right, I got to get off the soapbox. Y'all have been listening. You've been patient. I appreciate you guys. We need to make sure that we talk about all the potentials this weekend with the DFAs, maybe in line at least with the demotions, right? You don't have to DFA. I mean, that would only be like Haggerty potentially for a DFA. Smitty potentially going out on a rehab assignment, but this weekend with Carter and with Langford and with Seager coming back, you're going to see some moves. I would imagine you're going to see Foscue and you're probably going to see Hellman get sent back down. If Haggerty comes back, I do think that's where you send down Carter. Freeman is clearly going to be a guy that they keep up. It's obvious that Skip Schumacher likes Cody Freeman, and you could tell that pretty clearly by him being in that spot in the pinch hit role. What was it, in the 6th or 7th inning? Like, that's the first AB of the 2026 season for Cody Freeman up at the major league level, and Skip is going to him. Yeah, I think Skip is got a little bit of a notion for Cody Freeman. I think that is obvious by the decision tonight. So I do think right now it's probably going to be Carter, Foscue, and then Hellman. I think Nicky Lopez stays up. I don't think they're going to move him down at all. Why would you? He can play a little bit all over the place. You kind of need Nicky to be that Josh Smith replacement, if you will, that left-handed guy that can kind of play all over the infield. That's what Nicky Lopez is, and he's been doing a pretty good job, minus the fact that dude can't get down a bunt, I guess. I mean, look, I don't know. I know he got one down the other day. Feels like he struggled the past 2 times. Today was another one of those situations as well. Look, Nicky Lopez, to me, has done a nice job, and I would probably keep him up at this point. Those would be my 3 guys to send down. If you're going to bring Haggerty back this weekend along with Seager and Langford, go Evan Carter, demotion. Go Mike Hellman, demotion, and then Foscue as well. I know some people don't love the Foscue demotion. For me, I just think it's one of those unfortunate circumstances. Like, it's just, there's very limited options for who you can send down beyond those guys, right? You're probably not going to DFA Haggerty. I think that could be coming at some point, but I just don't see them doing it. And then beyond that, the rest of the bench, again, they're not going to demote Freeman. I don't see them demoting Berger. Berger, I said it last night. Berger could be the sleeper demote option. I don't think they're going to do that either. I mean, I think you would have a very strong case to demote Jake Berger. The only problem is you really don't have a first baseman, right-handed first baseman that can be your guy against lefty starters. I mean, you could obviously throw in like Zeke Duran into the mix, but I don't think you love Zeke Duran at first base. He did it last year. Like, he's got some experience over there. We were talking about Cody Freeman maybe playing first base. I mean, neither one of those guys are elite first basemen defensively. It would be a little bit of a stretch, but you could get creative. I mean, no doubt you could. So, I mean, look, those seem like the only 4 guys that are potentially options for demotion. Jake Berger, Evan Carter, Foscue, Hellman. And there we go. You do have Krim, that's true. You could bring him up. That's a possibility. Jackson, are you saying no way they demote Berger? I think the Berger demotion concept is probably unlikely. Again, I said kind of it's a sleeper pick at this point. I don't think that it's likely, but it wouldn't be a total shock to me if I saw that notification come across my screen. It just wouldn't be a total shock. I'll keep rolling with the comments, man. That was a ridiculous spot to put Freeman. I mean, look, I do understand people that might have been frustrated that Osuna gets the bench there. I mean, look, there are some people that don't care for Osuna. It feels like today when he made that, that play in the outfield, tried to dive for the ball. I mean, by the way, that Alejandro Osuna misplay, that baseball had an expected batting average of 600, man. 60% chance of being a hit. Not impossible. Not impossible to get an out on that play, but it was very highly likely that was going to be a base hit. Where Osuna messes up is letting the ball get past him. Like, you can't let the ball get past you there. He's trying to make a great play, and you know what? That's awesome, but you cannot allow that ball to get past you. I don't think MacKenzie Gore was throwing the ball consistently enough tonight for me to just straight up blame Alejandro for what went wrong tonight. You have Gore walking guys pretty incessantly throughout the evening, not controlling things, giving up base knocks. I mean, shoot, the guy had 10 base runners through 4 innings pitched, did MacKenzie Gore. So look, any Osuna hate tonight for what he did out in left field, I'm not going to disagree that it's a play he has to make or at least has to keep in front of him, but I'm not going to blame him for MacKenzie Gore's struggles. Gore was not throwing the ball well tonight. I don't know how you could argue that. Alejandro Osuna misplay or not. Gore was very inconsistent tonight, and he's been very inconsistent on the road in general. Gore was disappointing. Frankie, I'm going to agree with you on that for sure. Gore was disappointing. Look, you really wanted to see MacKenzie come out and give you some length, and he didn't do that. Obviously, you would have loved him to follow up what he's done in the past few starts. and he didn't do that either. So neither one happened. He didn't give you innings, and he didn't give you a quality game. MacKenzie Gore has to be more consistent on the road. He's got a really good ERA at home. He pitches well at Globe Life, but on the road, I believe he's got an ERA pretty close to 6. I think it was at 5.81 last time I checked. 5.81 ERA on the road for MacKenzie Gore. It's got to be more consistent. Has to be. For what you gave up for him, you have to be getting better out of Gore. I know that a lot of people, the Rangers apologists that I am always going up against, and I try to get people to see, man, we're on the same side. The difference is I'm actually willing to say the honest stuff out loud, and you've got some Rangers fans that don't want to be negative at all. They just want to be positive 24/7 and don't want anybody to ever say anything slightly bad about the team. I guess I can respect it, but for me, that's not how I'm going to run the show or my channel in general. I find it to be a little bit disingenuous. MacKenzie Gore, for what we gave up for him, he needs to be pitching better. He needs to be more consistent. And it's easier said than done, but I think that it is something that most Rangers fans would agree with. You gave up 5 prospects for him. I know that a lot of people throw out, quality, what was lesser in comparison to the quantity. So you're giving up more, but you didn't really give up like a ton of great. I don't know. Abby Ortiz is low-key killing it this year. You have, obviously, Gavin Feen, who's probably going to turn out to be a pretty good player. And you have other players in the mix. Devin Fitzgerald raking. It is looking like you gave up some pretty good quality players in the MacKenzie Gore trade. And I want to talk about, a point that I made. I made this same point today. Appreciate you, my guy. Always good to see you. Gore, to me, is infatuated with painting. And I would love to see him pitch to weak contact. I know when you throw out the expression pitch to contact, some people misread that. Obviously, when you say pitch to contact, you're talking about locating the ball, mixing your pitches in such a way that you're inducing weak contact. That's what we mean when we say pitch to contact. We're not talking about throwing meatballs over the plate and just letting guys tee off. We're talking about methodically placing the ball, not necessarily on the edges, but mixing your pitches and placing balls in zones that are going to be beneficial to you successfully retiring a batter. So for me, MacKenzie Gore, very frequently, you can tell he's trying to paint out there. He's trying to put that curveball at the very, very bottom of the zone on the outermost edge, and he's walking guys. It's going for the strikeout more so than just letting the defense at times work behind you. Perfect example is the Masyn Winn at bat that really began trouble. What was it in that first inning? So Masyn Winn, works a full count. You have nobody on base. Masyn Winn has like a sub 650 OPS. Yeah, he hit the home run the other night. The dude's not crushing it this year. Really nobody in this Cardinals lineup is crushing it, maybe beyond what Burleson and potentially Walker, right? Those are kind of the guys you're looking out for a little bit. I know Herrera's been pretty good as well for the Cardinals, also their catcher. But that being said, you need to challenge some of these Cardinals hitters, especially guys like Fermin, who's hitting 219. That was another guy MacKenzie Gore walked. It's like, why are you trying to paint with Fermin? Why are you trying to paint with Masyn Winn? I mean, these guys aren't scrubs, but these guys also are not Shohei Ohtani's. I'd love to see MacKenzie Gore pitch to weak contact a little more. Stop trying to paint and strike out everybody. Gore only getting a 204 average. That's 4th best in the AL. He just walks too much. He does. He walks too much. He gets too fine up there. It's a good way to put it. Yeah, I would agree with this. We've always said Kumar and Gore. And I would even throw, Lights at times can be this way where you're crossing your fingers a little bit. Look, Lighter, Gore, and Rocker on the road, I'm crossing my fingers. Any one of those guys at home, I'm actually feeling pretty good. Gore, Rocker, Lighter on the road, I'm definitely crossing the fingers. 100%. We don't really have an outfielder with a strong arm. Yeah, we don't. That's true. That is a bit of a weakness. Unless you put Zeke Duran out there, then you got a pretty strong-armed outfielder. Should the Rangers try to get Isaac Paredes? I don't think Houston is going to do any trades with the Rangers. Larry, what's good? They need to send Carter down to AAA. Agreed. Again, it's not anything that should be like scoffed at. It's not anything that should get anyone in their feelings. It is okay for a guy to get sent down to AAA. It's really okay. Look at Josh Young. Josh Young should be the pinnacle, the example, the shining star that you point to of demoting a guy and having them then start taking off. Look, I know that for Josh Young, it didn't happen until this season. They demoted Josh Young last year. I watched him here in Las Vegas play for, the Round Rock Express against the Aviators. Dude hit a couple bombs and they brought him back up like a week or two later. It's okay to send a guy to AAA. I don't understand the fans that get so in their feelings when people suggest these things, especially for a guy like Carter that has 3 options. It's not even like you're on your last leg with Carter and you can only send him down one more time. Carter's got 3 minor league options. I mean, it's not even a question to me. Send him down for a couple weeks. Bring him back in July and just let him do his thing down there. And you know what? If he struggles, then he's in the right place. I always say, too, it's a test of the mental. If you send Evan Carter down, you're wanting to see how does this guy respond? Is this guy going to pout, and is he going to cave in even more? Or is he going to really bear down, make improvements, make adjustments, and come back with a fire, come back with a vengeance? I think that these moves are more than just tweaking the swing, man. It's a test of the mental. And if you can forge that fire, if you can sharpen that iron a little bit, I think that is all the more reason to do it. And I think they did that with Josh Young last year, honestly. I think that the move, although it was actually kind of reported that, Josh Young was a little pouty, a little salty when he got sent down, so what? Get in your feelings. Get mad about it. Get pissed off. And maybe that fuels you to be better. I know the players don't like getting sent down. Now, that being said, the minor leagues are much better than what they were, say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Minor leagues are much better. You're playing in a lot of beautiful stadiums in the PCL. I live 15 minutes away from one of them. It's one of the most beautiful AAA parks. If you ever get a chance to come out here to Vegas and take in a game at the Aviators Stadium, the AAA affiliate for the Oakland A's, well, the Athletics now, you should do it. It's a beautiful ballpark. You get to play in a lot of those. It's definitely not as bad as what it once was, but it's no major league experience. These guys don't want to get sent down. And obviously, you're getting paid a lot more when you are up at the major league level as well. This much is most certainly true. Now, with Carter, I think, again, 3 weeks, bring him back up in July, no big deal. I do feel like that is going to be a strong consideration at this point. We keep going. Who's untouchable on the roster trade-wise? Nobody really, but I think my perspective is a little bit different than everybody else's, right? I think you take a call on anybody on this roster. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take a call on Wyatt Langford? Why wouldn't you take a call on Corey Seager? See if somebody's willing to overpay you. I would not be adverse to taking a call on any player in this organization, Sebastian Walcott included. Now, if you're asking me who would I like to rebuild with, I'd probably go with, obviously, Wyatt Langford and Sebastian Walcott as my most powerful 1-2 punch there. I know some people are still a little bit on the fence with Langford. I'm probably building around Langford and Walcott, unless I'm really trying to go all out this year, which I would do if I was the owner, if I was CY. I'd be going all out this year. Look, the farm system's already bad. You might as well just go big or go home and gut it. And you can always sell off the pieces at the deadline. Like right now, I'd try and make a big blockbuster trade. And look, if it's not working out by the end of July, you can sell off pieces and you can kind of hedge your bet a little bit. I've already thrown this out a number of different times. If I was in the front office, I'd be making a blockbuster trade right now. I'd be trying to get a big bat into the lineup right now. I wouldn't hesitate. And then you have a month and a half, you have 7 or 8 weeks to see how it plays out. And you know what? If at the deadline, you're not where you want to be, you can sell DeGrom, you can sell Evo, you can sell Seager, you can sell Nimmo, you can sell the guy that you just traded for right now on June 3rd in the blockbuster deal where you maybe burn Sebastian Walcott, and you can rebuild the farm system. I would do that in a heartbeat, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think the Rangers are probably going to hold on until late July, maybe make a couple little moves here and there and see what they can do from there. I don't think this team is going to make some huge splash move. And the reality is, any big move they make would have to involve either Walcott or Scarborough. And I just don't know if the team wants to do that or not. I would throw caution to the wind if you're truly in win now mode, though. I don't think it makes any sense to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out when you've got Seager, you've got DeGrom, you've got Evo, you've got Nimmo, all on the back 9 of their careers. It doesn't mean they're still not good to elite players. I believe that they are, but there's no denying they're on the back 9. They're not on the front 9 by any means. So that's where I would be if I was the front office. A lot of people like to remind me when things are going well for Texas, it's a good thing you're not in the front office, Austin. But you know what? I think we've called it quite a few times here on this show. The batting average is definitely healthy. If you're going off of major league batting averages, the right on Rangers accuracy average is healthy. It's healthy. Look, I haven't got it right every time. But that's what I'd be doing if you really want to be a contender this year. Appreciate you guys. Knicks won game 1. All right. Sorry, Spurs fans. I know we got some Spurs fans that are Rangers fans. Of course, I grew up in Arlington, big Mavericks fan. Spurs, always a team I rooted against lovingly. My grandparents, rest in peace, were huge Spurs fans. So, look, there's a very small part of me that wouldn't mind seeing them knock off the Knicks. I really don't care. But you know what? I always like to root against the big markets. So I'm probably go Spurs here, but it does feel wrong. I wish both teams could lose, in all honesty. The Brunson connection is great. I do love Jalen Brunson, but I cannot root for the Knicks, man. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Like, when LA was going through their title drought, I was very, very happy when the Dodgers hadn't won a title since, 89. God bless them. Don't care. Keep on losing. Feel the same way about the Knicks, man. I would love for both teams in this series to be able to lose. We keep rolling, man. Good thing I wasn't live for the Houston series. Ain't no telling what I was going to say for the no-hitter. Look, y'all would have seen me going through a range of emotions last week in that Houston series, from depressed to pissed off to indifferent, whatever. It would have been a wide variety of emotions had I been live for that Houston series. Yeah, I would have crashed out after that Houston game, after the no-hitter, 100%. Sneaky idea, I would call Jarren Duran. Yeah, Duran for the Red Sox is interesting to me. Definitely a guy that I enjoy watching play the game. I think with Evan Carter's struggles, you could probably talk yourself pretty nicely into going out and buying or trading for an outfielder. I don't think at different points in the offseason anybody was thinking that. And I think we all kind of agreed Evan Carter's got way too much potential to replace him. But at this point, with his struggles, I think it's fair game. I think the Rangers could easily upgrade the outfield with Evan Carter doing what he's doing this year. Hopefully, before the trade deadline, he gets into a good place and it's not something you have to do. I would really prefer to see the team try and upgrade the right side of the infield, first base, second base, and catcher as well. My goodness, by the way, Kyle Higashioka, what were we doing there on some of those throws down to second, man? We were sailing. We were sailing today, baby. I mean, every throw down to second base was 5 feet over Zeke Duran's head or Nicky Lopez's head. Didn't matter. I definitely feel like this has got to be something the Rangers address in the offseason. I know they are just on their hands and knees praying for Malcolm Moore to develop into an elite level talent. He's having a great year down in the minor leagues. I don't know if he is going to pan out or not, but the Rangers have to have a plan there. Have to. Jaron Duran would be an interesting call. Look, I 100% am on this. Hey, Cloud BXR, appreciate you, man. Thank you for all the comments tonight. Thanks for supporting the show. I have been a big proponent of Adley Rutschman. You guys know this, the longtime listeners. I've been talking about Adley Rutschman for a while now. Would have loved to have seen the Rangers go and trade for him in the offseason. People like to remind me he was never available. Dude, we've talked about this. Everybody is freaking available unless maybe your name is Shohei Ohtani. I still think the Dodgers would take phone calls on Ohtani just for fun, just to see what teams are willing to give up for him. Look, I'm pretty sure he's one of the untouchables, but you know what? If I was a GM, I'm taking a phone call for anybody. Amuse me with your Ohtani trades. That's how I would be. I need some entertainment. Let me see what you're throwing my way for Shohei Ohtani. That's why on the Rangers roster, anybody, you can call me about any player. I want to hear the deal. I'm not saying no. And so for me, look, with Adley Rutschman and the Orioles, really? They weren't going to take any calls on Adley Rutschman? Adley Rutschman is untouchable? Come on. Adley Rutschman was not untouchable this offseason. The Orioles just didn't get a deal that they wanted. They didn't get a deal that tripped their trigger, and so he stayed. There's very few players in Major League Baseball that are just straight up untouchable. I would have loved for the Rangers to have gone and gotten Adley Rutschman. Colin, Luis Arraez. Look, I know that Luis Arraez is a little bit polarizing in the baseball world. I would have loved for the Rangers to sign that man. And he's crushing it this year. Luis Arraez is literally exactly what the Rangers needed. You needed a guy that could put the ball in play consistently, not strike out, situational hit, and Luis Arraez checks literally all those boxes. And you know what? The Rangers had a second base hole, but they were kind of obsessed with the Josh Smitty everyday role player guy, and I just don't think that they were able to see clearly there. I really don't. Ethan, I know you were on Arraez big time. I just don't think they were able to think straight. They were so infatuated with Smitty playing every day. I don't think they gave it enough serious thought bringing in Luis Arraez. I would have brought him in a heartbeat. Smitty, I love you. Stay as our utility player. Maybe he stays healthy in a utility role. Maybe Josh Smith avoids all of this stuff if he's just in a utility role this year. The added pressure, playing every day. I really do feel like it would have been a great plan. Smitty, jack of all trades, you are the utility guy this year. You're not going to play every day, but you're going to play most days at some point, either starting or substituting late. And Luis Arraez is our starting second baseman. Really another head scratcher to me. You had Arraez right there. You could have done a 2-year deal. You could have given him $10 million, $12 million, whatever. You could have splurged on Luis Arraez. Luis Arraez would not have put the Rangers over the luxury tax threshold, not even close. It was a mistake. They needed to go and get Luis Arraez. Now, could they trade for him? 100%. They could have traded for Luis. They could trade for him in about a month and a half. Maybe they will. But I think it was a big whiff not going and getting him in the free agent period. I think that they should have. They were infatuated with Smitty playing every day. Smitty is a lovable guy. I root for him. I hope that he comes back from his injury and continues to have success in the big leagues. It's going to be interesting when he does come back, what they decide to do with him. Probably depends on how Haggerty and Nicky Lopez are playing. If they are not playing well, I think Smitty probably takes one of their spots pretty easily. But I think Smitty, as an everyday second baseman, it didn't get a super long runway, but I think most of us are on that page. Love having him as a utility guy who plays maybe 4 out of 6 games, but not really loving every day. You're the dude. Nobody else is potentially taking your spot. We keep rolling. Smith did regress a little bit. He did. It happens. I think a lot of us didn't feel awesome about the idea, but they really wanted to see him take the bull by the horn. Skip said it himself when they were in Surprise. It happened a little bit in spring training. Smitty was hitting the ball well. A lot of Rangers were hitting the ball well in Arizona, though. I think one thing that I've taken away more so than any spring training, you got to take the Arizona stats with a grain of salt, man. Just hitting down there without the humidity at elevation. Yeah, I think that it makes a big difference. You'd almost rather play in Florida, right? At least in Florida, you're at sea level, you got the humidity in the air. I feel like in the Florida League, right? In the Grapefruit League, you get a little bit more realistic with the numbers. I feel like the Arizona, the Cactus League in spring training, you just get a lot of inflated stats. And I think that rang true this year for the Rangers more so than any other year. We keep rolling. Arise said he wanted to go to a team that lets him play second. It was an alley-oop and we missed the dunk. Cade, phenomenal comment, man. I do feel like Arise at second base every day for Texas was a freaking alley-oop dunk, and the Rangers just couldn't see the forest for the trees because they wanted Josh Smith so badly to emerge. And I get it to an extent. Like, you want to be right on the guys that you traded for and you develop in your farm system, but that was a no-brainer. You're going to do a Rise on a 2-year deal. That lines up perfectly with DeGrom and Evo and everything else. Your window. You didn't need to sign a Rise to a 3 or 4-year deal. You had a perfect window there, 2-year window. DeGrom and Evo still under contract. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Where are we on Foscue? Yeah, I do think he lost some trust playing the field. I think obviously Skip still likes his bat a little bit. That's why he came in late today. But yeah, I think Foscue has sunk himself a little bit, not just with the fielding miscues, TLC, but also with the base running miscues. Dude's gotten picked off like multiple times now. So for me, I'm probably on the Foscue demote train at this point. Like, I wanted to see him get a little bit of a runway. I just feel like he shrunk a little bit, especially on the base pass, man. I don't think there's anything, I mean, just speaking from coaching experience, when you're coaching, you know, at a varsity level in high school, you know, college, professional level, minor leagues, major leagues, I'm not sure if there's anything that pisses you off more as a coach than a guy getting picked off for no reason at first base. For no reason. Like, you're not stealing, you're just getting picked off. I think that is a huge, huge thing probably hanging in the back of Skip Schumacher's mind, maybe even in the forefront. Let's see. In a real world, we DFA Martin and Garcia and keep Alstrom and Collier. I'm on that page, Caden. I really don't want to see Garcia or Martin again this year. I don't think we will see Garcia again this year with his transferring to the 60-day. It's not looking good, apparently, according to the beat writers for Garcia. Obviously, prayers for him. Hope that he heals up. Don't really want to see him back on the major league roster, though. I like some of the other guys that are throwing. I like Alstrom. I like Collier. I like Baumler. I know Baumler's on the 60-day. I like Carter Baumler as well. I think there's a lot of guys that you'd probably prefer at this point to Martin and Garcia. Most people that didn't want to Rise want him now. Ethan, that's so true. It's so true. Cloud, I never want to see Martin again. Yeah, I think a lot of people could probably agree with that. Let's see. Are you upset we lost? No, because they went on the 5-game win streak. Like, there are some nights where you're seeing me overturn some tables. This doesn't feel like an angry, pissed off night. It feels like, you know what? Would have been great to sweep, but they won 5 in a row. They won the series in St. Louis. Not a lot of people thought they were going to do that. It's really hard for me to put on. I mean, look, maybe I'd be getting some more engagement right now, but I think it's a little disingenuous to be super furious about the Rangers losing tonight. Yeah, Holly, totally with you on that. Yeah, you're going to lose games. I'm with you on that, Cloud. You're going to lose some games, man. I feel like we may lose this season because our higher-ups can't be wrong. Jackson, look, I am going to fight this battle all season, but, you know, I tweeted out today, there were some people, you know, taking some victory laps on Jock Peterson, taking some victory laps on Josh Young, taking some victory laps on Ezekiel Duran. You know, I stayed positive, right? I never gave up on them. Look, I criticized all 3 of those players, and I have for multiple years. And I feel like genuinely the criticism was warranted for every single player. Josh Young, how he was playing the past 2 seasons, it's been bad. Zeke Duran, he's been bad the past 2 years. He hasn't been good. Are they killing it this year? And am I so happy for both of them? Yes. That's the thing I think sometimes people get twisted. We never root for people to fail. Never. But I love how some people just like assume this front office is to be trusted. Like I'll have people comment to me, and I already said this earlier tonight. I'm so glad you're not the GM, Austin. I'm so glad you're not making the transactions. And they say that like this front office has been crapping gold the last 3 years. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This front office has been wrong a number of different times. Do I need to take everybody in the chat to school? I know most of y'all are on my page anyways. I don't need to tell you. The people that act like this front office has done no wrong over the past 3 years. And I'm not necessarily including 2023. I'm talking 24, 25, 26. It's incredible. I mean, do we need to just start with this year? Danny Jansen? Hello. I know DJ isn't like a big money-making player. He's only getting paid 2 or 3. Has Danny Jansen been working out? No. Has Jake Berger, the rebound bet, been working out? No. So look, for anybody that wants to lift up the front office, hanging on to Jock Peterson, Josh Young, Ezekiel Duran, we can name a number of crappy moves. Chris Martin, $4 million? I mean, look, I could go on and on and on. So for anybody that wants to puff out their chest because at Right on Rangers, we criticized Zeke Duran and Josh Young and Jock Peterson when they were terrible, you think the front office is doing a whole lot better with their decision-making? Yeah, I 100% said DFA Zeke Duran at some point. And you know what? When I said it, the guy was terrible. And obviously, he's picked it up in 2026, and I've got to eat a plate of crow. And I'm happy to do it because I love this team, and I love seeing every single player on this team do well. But the people that are saying, I'm so glad you're not making the moves. Again, what we think this front office can do no wrong? And a lot of wrong. Colin, look, it would be a dream come true. It would be a dream freaking come true. But you got to like my style, and my style is aggressive. And some people don't like that. Some people like the slow play, conservative, wait it out. We're going to stay positive. It's going to work out great. I'm a little bit aggressive, man. Hey, we're in win now mode. Let's go ahead and push the chips to the center of the table. Let's not be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The front office, man. Look, I give credit where it's due. Skip moving Jock to the leadoff spot. Amen, brother. You did amazing with that move. Let's talk CY. Piecing together the bullpen. He did it again. Loose change and spare parts. The man has a gift for a bargain bin relief system, a bargain bin pen. CY's got the market cornered. But because Josh Young and Jock Peterson and Zeke Duran are all having pretty good years, we're going to ignore all the bad moves. Okay? Every time we get close to 500, we go on a losing streak. Feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. They did this last year, didn't they? It feels like every time we got close to 500 last year, they'd lose a game. Like we could never get back to 500. All right, let's keep rolling. Would take me over C. Thank you, Cade. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, brother. Look, I'm not perfect. I get it wrong. I don't admit to be batting 1,000 with my transaction suggestions. But look, at this point, I think we're doing pretty good here on the show. We're doing pretty good. I'd love to sit there and map out all of my suggestions and see where all of them land, right or wrong. Maybe one day this summer when I have some free time, I'll get it done. Nate, thank you. Criticizing is not hating, man. Criticizing is not hating. It's passion. And I love the passion that fans show. I know that the thing is to kind of clap back like at anybody that's potentially being negative. Man, it's passion. It's love for the team. I think anybody that is a diehard and loves this team is going to get frustrated with this team at some point. So the people that don't either don't really care that much or they're being disingenuous. Every diehard fan at some point is going to get pissed off or frustrated with this team because you love them so much. Think about the people in your life that you love. You ever get pissed off at them? I know I do. Doesn't mean I don't love them to freaking death and back. You get pissed off at the people that you love. So for me, it's no different with baseball. I'm always going to love this team just like I'm always going to love my family. Doesn't mean they don't get under my skin sometimes. And I'm sure I grind on them. In fact, I know I do. You love the team, man. You're never going to stop loving them. Doesn't mean you're not going to get into some tassels from time to time with the decisions that they make and the way that they play. I can't connect it to life, to real world life any better than that. Who would I give up for a rise? Good question. Ethan, you got an idea on that? I don't know, Ethan, if you're still hanging out. But Ethan, you got an idea on that? Who would you trade for Luis Arraez? I'm with you on this. Lat's being solid with Junis. Tandem 1-2. Thank goodness, man. If we did not have Junis and Latz locking it down late, we'd be in a lot worse position. A lot worse position right now. Dan, I'm with you on this. Command issues, I think trying to be too fine, trying to do too much painting. 1,000%. And by delusional, I think, again, it's the people that won't just stay grounded in reality. It's okay. Like, this team is 30-32. They're not a winning team right now. Doesn't mean they can't be, but it's okay to be frustrated with a team that's 30-32. Are we supposed to be throwing a parade right now? I mean, that's what some people would have you believe. 30-32. Let's throw a parade, man. These guys are doing great. They're not. They've lost more games than they've won. That doesn't mean that they can't turn it around, and it doesn't mean that we're not all rooting for that. But this team is a losing baseball team right now. Sometimes you just got to say things out loud and keep it simple, man. Seriously. We keep on rolling. If I was in charge, first thing I'm doing is calling up Seager, Langford, and Castillo, then send down Carter, Berger, and Hellman. Castillo's stats are just begging to be called up. Man, I think that there are going to be some call-ups at some point. I do think for some of those guys that maybe aren't on the 40-man, you're not going to see it until rosters expand, but it'd be interesting. John Taylor, that would be an interesting one too. It's going to be fun. I think as the summer goes on, you are going to see some of these call-ups. Cade, we'd be in first place easily right now. Had we taken care of business against the Angels and the Astros, this was the comment, we would no doubt be in first place. No doubt. Appreciate all y'all. Polino, Santana, and Foscue for Arraez would get it done. I'm going to have to throw some of these in the trade simulator that I subscribe to and just see what happens. I would love to see what it takes to get Luis Arraez. I think that you probably aren't going to have to give up a crazy amount. That is for sure. Every time I see Corey Seager, he just doesn't look like he's happy on this team. Man, there was a pretty crazy crowd for Corey at Frisco, wasn't there? I saw that it was a pretty crazy crowd for him. Good for him. I mean, look, I love Corey Seager, franchise legend, always going to be. Hope that he comes back and tears the cover off the baseball, man. If Langford and Seager truly do play at their potential, yeah, this is going to be a fine offense. I still don't know if it's going to be elite, but it's going to be fine. Right now, with Seager and Langford not playing up to their potential, it's a bad offense. It's below average. And you get Seager and Langford playing like they're supposed to, it's fine to maybe slightly above average. I don't think without a couple of splashes at the deadline, I don't think this lineup is ever going to be elite. I think they'll have nice games here and there, but I'm not going to say the ceiling is elite or a top 5 offense in the game. I think the plan always was this year. I think the philosophy has remained. Can we just get mediocre offense, not really bad offense like we've seen in a number of games this year? And can we then just get our usual really good pitching, really good defense? Defense has left a little bit to be desired this year. Good defense and pitching, speaking of, helps win games, but it doesn't actually win you games unless you score more runs than the other team. Front office needs to realize that and make moves accordingly. 1,000% agree. You've got to go out and get a bat at the deadline. I mean, look, we were talking last night. The only pitcher that I will be okay with the Rangers acquiring, high octane bullpen arm, or Tarek Skubal. Like, I do not want to see them go get a starting pitcher that's just like above average. If you're going to go get a starting pitcher at the deadline, it better be Skubal. I think they need to go get a high octane arm. What do I mean by that? I mean, upper 90s, a great off speed, slider, curveball, something like that. I'd love to see them add one more really dependable bullpen piece. As much as I love Junis and Latz, you need to solidify that pen a little bit better. I feel like Latz and Junis could very well have a great rest of the 2026 season without issue. But you feel like you're playing a little bit with house money right now with Latz and Junis. Like, I trust them right now, but would it shock me if the wheels started falling off because of overuse? No. Kind of like what happened last year in August and September. Go out and get you a high-octane bullpen arm, but also improve the offense. That's the number one priority. Offense has the potential to average 5 to 6 runs a game, for sure. I definitely don't want another Merrill Kelly situation. Again, the only starting pitcher I'm good with the Rangers acquiring at the deadline is Skubal. That's the only guy. Otherwise, I think a lot of Rangers fans are going to be frustrated. It's going to be really hard for people to be pissed off that Tarek Skubal is now a Texas Ranger. I mean, really. Is anybody going to get on and complain? Maybe. I bet there will be, honestly. There probably will be. I think it's pretty disingenuous to be pissed off about getting arguably the best pitcher in the game. I mean, I could hear you if it was any other pitcher, but if it's Skubal, I think we got to call that a win, even if this team needs a little bit more offense. You probably could get away with not giving up Walcott for Skubal, but I bet you'd have to throw in Scarborough. I think you got to probably throw in Scarborough. I don't think you could. You probably have to trade Walcott. I bet they're going to want a guy like Scarborough, though. Ethan, you're our resident trade expert, though, buddy. Casey Mize, maybe. But again, if they're going to waste more farm capital, and I say waste because I got to be honest, y'all, I have my doubts about even with trades if this team can win a World Series, and I'm not championing that. I don't gloat in that. I think if you've been hanging out with me for the past couple of years, you know it hurts me when this team loses. We've watched a number of losing ball games. We've watched walk-off losses. You see it. It's not a show. I wouldn't get on here every night and play pretend, man. It hurts when this team loses. But it just doesn't feel yet like this is the ball club that's going to get it done. I hope to be wrong, and I want to see what the Rangers do at the deadline. Maybe I'll be singing a different tune. But, you remember the 23 team was 40-20 in their first 60 games. Rangers are, 30-32 after game 62. It is a different year, right? I know that some people throw out, getting hot at the right time, and that sounds nice, but we have to understand, the Rangers in 23 were 40-20 after game 60. This is a little bit of a different ball club. No need for another starting pitcher, especially when you have Montgomery and Bradford coming back, hopefully. Probably more so Montgomery than Bradford. I think Bradford isn't even throwing. Montgomery resumed throwing program, and I think he's going to be on a rehab assignment soon. Latz and Junis are both starters, converted relievers. Don't know how much you can rely on them. You need a reliever. Yeah, I want them to go get a bullpen arm. They need to improve the hitting, but they need to go get another bullpen piece. For sure. Teodo has not given up a run in his last 7 appearances. Caden, we're knocking on wood right now for Teodo, man. That's awesome for him. That's another arm. Maybe at, the roster expansion, or if there's more injuries, God forbid, you could maybe see Teodo coming up and filling a spot. Wouldn't surprise me. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and let's go to the game for Friday. Let's go to the weekend series here. We have kind of put a bow on tonight's game. Rangers drop a close one, 5-3. MacKenzie Gore just didn't have the winning stuff tonight, didn't have the A-plus stuff. Way too many walks, way too many deep counts. 10 base runners through 4 innings pitched. Just wasn't his sharpest game. Friday night, Tejas night. Messick, lefty, going for Cleveland. He is 6-1 with a 2.20 ERA. I can't say, looking at this right now, just at the box score preview, that I'm feeling great about Friday night, although Kumar Rocker at home is pretty good. And that is who the Rangers are throwing on Friday night. But Messick, lefty, 2.21 ERA, 6-1 overall. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a recipe for success for the Rangers offense, who has been very bad against lefties this year. Very bad. But we'll see what they can do. Neither pitcher has any stats against the opposing lineup, so don't really have much to go off of there. However, on Saturday, let's go through both the matchups. Saturday is going to be Leiter against Bybee. Bybee is 0-7 with a 4.57 ERA. Sunday is Cantillo, 4-2 with the 3.92 ERA. It'll be DeGrom day on Sunday. So I feel pretty good about game 2 and 3 of the series. I can't say I feel awesome about game 1. If you can steal game 1, I feel really good about the Guardian series. Game 1, though, is going to be a tough one. You got a really good lefty going in Messick for Cleveland, and you've got Kumar Rocker on the other side, who has been very good at home, but still, you just feel like runs are probably going to be a little bit tough to come by on Friday night. Hope to be wrong, and we'll love seeing the red jerseys again, the Tejas jerseys. It's been a little while since I was live for a Tejas night, so I'm excited about that. We'll get the red going. It'll be great. But, man, lefty, 2.21 ERA. It's not sounding good out loud right now. Anytime Rangers play against a lefty, not good. Simple but true. Simple but true. Game 1 could make history in a bad way for us. Man, I hope not. Teodo does throw gas. That could be the high-octane arm that we need. It really could be. Seattle loses tonight. That's always a good thing. And by the way, going around the AL West, Astros are going to beat the Pirates most likely. Bottom of the 8th, they are winning 11-9. Angels are beating the Rockies. And it looks like Mariners, yes, they lost. Ethan, thank you, 7-1 to the Mets. A's win against the Cubs. So, man, you did have some teams gain some ground today. Mariners fortunately lose. Rangers remain 2.5 games back, but the A's do climb ahead of the Rangers in the standings. A's are now just 2 games back at 30-31. We have got, by the way, Mariners playing Detroit this weekend, and the A's, let me check this out here. A's this weekend are going to be playing the Astros. So A's and Astros going to beat up on each other, and then the Angels get the Dodgers. So you've actually got AL West playing some good teams. I mean, you definitely have an opportunity here. Look, Detroit, I know, has struggled a little bit. They're 25-38. I still feel like they've got some good players. I know the record doesn't reflect it. You might have an opportunity to gain some ground or at least separate yourself a little bit this weekend. All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and take off for the evening. Was not the best night in terms of the box score result, but it was a good night hanging out with you guys. I'll have a video out tomorrow. And then on Friday, I'll have a video out doing a little preview of the Guardian series, things to look for, things to watch. Appreciate you supporting the show in all the ways that you do, the comments, the shares, the likes. I know we had a few people follow today. Really means a lot. Just want to say thank you. Look, it's a grind, 162 games, but I love that there's other diehards like myself willing to come hang out each night and talk Rangers baseball. I don't take that for granted for a second. Hope you have a great Wednesday night, a great Thursday tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday night, hopefully. And we'll be talking about a Rangers win. That's the plan. We're sticking to it. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.